tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I'm still a rock star. I got my rock
Smash! Yeah, we're instruments. We forgot to bring instruments to destroy, guys. Come on.
I know. I forgot my guitar.
Come on.
That I was gonna destroy.
I can't smash this fancy mine.
Welcome everybody back to AfterBuzz TV. We are here doing Pitch Slapped for episode 4, Cruella of Acappella.
So good.
Awesome episode.
Yes.
As per usual, we have a full panel again tonight. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. Joining me, I have...
You got Ty Matthews. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Ty Matthews PMA, and a bajillion other after shows that I just started.
Cool.
Computer.
And I'm Lindsey Miller. You can find me
I got excited.
You guys.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Rockamama Life. And yes, my hair is cray because I crimped it for the 80s.
So good.
What's up, everyone? My name is Jeff Graham. As you can tell, I'm running our stream at the same time so I can keep up with the chat roll. If you also could tell, I did not mute the computer, so
he likes to watch and hear himself.
Yeah, we have a 12-second delay just in case something really edgy happens. You probably noticed from the stream.
I usually say, so good you do it twice.
You should see the things that actually happen 12 seconds ahead of what you really see. Just kidding.
Exciting.
All focus. My name is Jeff Graham. You can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham and Instagram at Jeffrey Crane Graham. Hi, I just slayed that. Did anyone
Get it? Get it, boy.
Thank you.
After you forgot to mute the computer.
I know. We're going to just do
extra intro
one small
music.
victory at a time. That's what we're going to do.
Well, let's do one episode at a time. Week 4, episode 4. What were your overall quick thoughts, real quick? Ty.
I
What
loved it.
did you think?
I think the performances were really, I think this week especially, were just like really, really impressed me. And I mean, obviously we'll get to a lot of that, and I think a lot of our differing opinions, but yeah, I was really blown away. And it seems like when they get to the performance, it almost seems like little like mini music videos, and that part I enjoy.
Yeah,
It's the
I
production.
agree with that.
The production is really, really
Yeah,
killing it.
Lindsay, how about you?
Drama. I love this one. I felt like last week was a little bit of a snooze fest in some aspects, like leading up to the competition, and this week was definitely not a snooze fest. And yeah, the production value I think it gets better every week. Although this, I'll save it for the competition. Some words on the audio.
Yeah, definitely like this one more than episode 3. I think my favorite so far is the one where we got to see the really emotional sides of acapella. I hope we get some more of that. I also would love to see the format get switched up a bit, but I have a feeling we probably won't. So that's okay.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, it's kind of like
okay, now we're this and this.
Right. I would love just like some blow your mind episode where we get like Inception and like something.
It's a little too much.
It's a performance within a performance.
I don't know.
Song within a song.
I'm skeptical that will happen.
Like we see the end and
You
they're
never
like
know.
eliminated, and then we go back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's Tarantino it back. See how we got here.
I like the format because if you got to remember, like there's so many people involved in this show and so many faces we have to cover within 42 minutes. So I'm glad that they have a pretty strict format, so it's easy to follow every week.
Even halfway through the season, we're still seeing like brand new faces.
Right?
We've never seen that person.
We saw some new people. I was like, who is that? Like,
Phoebe?
Yeah.
Hello, Phoebe.
Yeah.
Stay tuned is going to have 200 members by the end of the season.
No,
just
I
gigantic.
think there's still like looking back when they're sitting there. I'm like, there's still some people that I'm like, who we haven't met them yet, and I hope we do get to meet all of them.
Well, we meet Cedric, the Runaway Train, next week. I'm excited for that.
Oh,
we
yeah.
met Cedric.
Big Ced. We
met
saw him
Big
a little
Ced.
bit. We saw him a little bit, with the percussion and everything.
Yeah.
But I think I'm excited to see Runaway Train.
It's more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why he's laying down.
The Cedric Express.
Yes.
All right, so let's start with Deke's team. Stay tuned. Deke is missing at rehearsals for the first day. Apparently, he's in the hospital. He has Addison disease, which is a disease that affects his adrenal glands. He cannot produce the proper amount of steroids that the body needs. So he had to miss out the first episode. Therefore, losing a day of rehearsal, or the first day of the episode. Losing rehearsal time. What do we think of Stay Tuned trying to like keep it together without a leader?
That had to be so nerve-wracking, just like everyone just sitting there, and I mean, like, without any sort of notice or anything, just like it going 15 minutes, and then 45 minutes, and then an hour, like, that's gotta be, they've gotta be really, really sweating it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking, like, what would I have done? Like, in high school, if, like, my coach didn't show up.
Oh, 15-minute rule. Dunzo.
You would have left? I don't know. I don't think I would have
But
left.
with this is a little different.
Yeah.
I don't
In
know.
college, there's actually a rule for the amount
Everyone's
of time
like-
you're allotted to leave after.
I just think it shows a lot
watching
for
the
like
clock.
Stay Tuned that they stayed there and they were not 45 minutes in is like for high schoolers
Oh, sure.
to be
That's a
still
lot.
sitting there waiting and not have I mean, granted they were in high school, so they probably like their parents weren't coming to the rehearsals. They couldn't go anywhere
Had
anyways.
anything else to do.
But
Yeah, there's also the point of like there was probably 30 crew members all around them, so like the context is a little different.
sit tight, guys.
than what
Guys,
we're
sit
used to.
just stay here
We're getting
we're
hold of
working
it.
on it.
He's not gonna call.
Because I don't think it's really normal in that situation. You would like FaceTime your coach.
I know.
Sure.
Yeah, but Deke really does. He treats him like a family. If any of you guys didn't know, Marissa and I very luckily today actually got to talk to Deke in person.
Super
Yeah, he
jealous.
came to the
Really?
studio. We had a really nice interview. It's called On the Concert Experience.
Yeah.
Definitely check that out. He had a lot of great things to say about his career, his life, and how he got all about a cappella and the show. It's really, really insightful. Go check that out if you missed it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it was very obviously Deke is the busiest man in the world, so it was very short notice. So Ty and Lindsey unfortunately couldn't make it.
Busiest in the world.
I think he's the
Oh, he's
busiest
super busy.
in the world. I think Barack
Thank you,
Obama's
Deke.
number
I
two.
think Forbes just confirmed it.
Forbes confirmed.
Deke's busiest man in the world.
But we're hoping to get him to Skype in hopefully later in the season. So obviously a lot of people in the chat room know Deke very well because he worked with him for 7 months, weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks.
You know. either one.
But it was great. He was talking about just how he really does value them as a family, and he really did miss rehearsal. And by the way, Deke was explaining his medical condition. We really want to make sure we're treating that. If in the past we've kind of joked about the idea of reality show drama in hospitals, we didn't mean to be offensive. Deke, we love you anytime you have to struggle with that. So mad props for coming the next day.
Yeah.
Just bounding in
I
the next
know.
day.
That is solidarity.
Yeah.
And that is
Like,
being a trooper and pulling it together for your team.
Deke straight up
That
Kool-Aided.
is what a leader should do. If you're sick, you still show up.
Exactly. He straight up Kool-Aided into that rehearsal space.
He did.
Oh.
Yeah. I wrote down, like, I remember writing down, like, just seeing him filled with joy. I don't know. It just, you can tell when you watch Deke that he, like, eats, sleeps, breathes, lives a cappella, and that he genuinely loves being able to take these kids from where they are when they start and like create this sound and create music and create like something really special from nothing. I mean, nothing isn't the right word, but literally taking
From the ground up.
Yeah, from the ground up and making this like he just is filled with energy to be like that sick and have that much energy and inspiration is really cool.
I think that's just a testament to his character and like how he lives his life and his career. He's so passionate about what he does that it obviously resonates in his everyday performance. He loves it. He lives for it.
Yeah.
He's a godfather, guy.
He is the godfather.
You're not going to be the godfather and
Pioneer.
not live a cappella.
He is an Aka god.
Yeah.
We said that a lot during the show.
Yeah.
So they have to perform Pink's So What? What do we think of the song? Angry, a different type of emotion that they have. They never performed anger before yet. What do we think of the song?
It's great.
Yeah, it was something
For
that they needed to tap into for sure. It seems like they've touched on a lot of different aspects of the emotional spectrum, and then now, I mean, it's you can't really imagine them getting mad, So I think it was something that they needed.
Really, you can't imagine teenagers get mad.
Not stay
Not
tuned.
these ones.
Right.
Not these
Like
ones.
mad on point or like on demand.
Command.
Really,
I hear
really.
you.
Right.
Anger is such a hard, like, it's such a hard emotion to really, like, tap into. I feel like unless you're in the moment and you're, like, really angry, because it tends to be one of those emotions that's, like, very fight or flight. It, like, just happens. Whereas, like, sadness or happiness, you can kind of channel old memories and recreate that feeling. But, like, anger, you gotta be, like, unless you have anger management issues, you've got to be angry. And I think it's smart in Deke, and, you know, we've seen it all along. He's like this master puppeteer, and you can see almost his brain working through the songs he chooses each week and the things he's choosing to tackle. And he kept saying, like, emotional range, and that, you know, what better to show that than to force them to do what for most people is the most uncomfortable emotion to really portray.
Deke kind of blew our minds today. He was talking about his philosophy behind his song choices with Stay Tuned.
For the first four
four weeks. If you guys have seen Inside Out, the movie, you know that movie talks about 5 emotions. Deke would say that the 4 core emotions are joy, sadness, anger and fear. So if we're looking back at the song choices, week 1 was Hide and Seek.
Hide and Seek, which showed the sadness.
Week 2 was
Taylor Swift Shake It Off, which showed
is
happiness.
Joy.
Yeah.
Week
joy.
3 was
what?
The one that Jack soloed on. What the hell was
what
that one?
did they sing?
But it's all about
Help us out, guys.
being afraid and coming out.
Was it Beneath Your Beautiful? Was that the one?
Yes, and they slayed.
That's it.
And then this week
that was
was
the one
Anger.
we didn't know the song. Yeah.
So that was pretty
Anger.
cool. I think Deke was saying he saw this group. He wanted to really push them because a huge philosophy, which I agree with, is that true music has emotional range, which is, he really talked a lot about that in the interview if you guys are interested. It was really insightful. And it's cool to see he really chose those 4 songs deliberately, I think setting a foundation for the competition.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it's great now that you have like the basic core emotions set and done. Now you can just build upon that and tap into whatever, because you know how it is to go into a certain type of emotion. So whatever song you're going to now do, you've already done it. So, all right. So what do we think of their rehearsal? You know what? Let's go to Diana.
Yeah.
And Highland Voices. There's a lot of drama.
So much happening.
with them.
Love it.
As we know, Diana, she has a very strong personality.
Yeah.
And they did like a supercut this episode of her yelling a lot
I love that
at her
montage.
teammates,
Right.
which
Yeah.
isn't really good. It doesn't portray her in the best of light.
Yeah.
But do you agree that she's coming off a little too strong?
Yeah.
I think so, I don't know. I think obviously we know that that's a very real possibility. I think the clips that they used for that supercut was like, they weren't necessarily like, there were probably worse ones. Like those
That
ones
we didn't even see.
Right,
They're left on the cutting
exactly.
floor.
Yeah. Those ones that they used weren't even really like, that was genuinely just her pushing them. That didn't even really seem.
Yeah, I wasn't offended by those.
I mean, she's obviously has a clearly different coaching style than Deke does. The thing that struck me from those clips were the phrases like, "Am I in this alone?"
A lot of
"This
me,
is
me,
this
yeah.
is me."
Yeah.
And I wrote down at some point, like, she is, and I don't know if it's her or if it's the team or if it's a combination, but it seems to be on Highland's Voices, there's this really cultivation of like me, focus on the soloist, so focus on individuality and the individual parts, as opposed to Deke, which is creating sort of like the sum is greater than all the parts.
Right.
Like trying to take all these individual talents and create something bigger and more beautiful, whereas Diana seems really focused on the soloist, and we've seen it a couple times where she tells, like last week she told Blue, you know, like, this is on you. If you don't get this, then we're gonna lose this competition.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that's horrible and the exact opposite of being on a team.
Right.
And she said it again this episode with
Dan.
not Dan, no,
Andrew?
seriously,
Neftali?
Yeah.
no, what is her name?
Mariella?
Mariella,
Oh,
where
right.
she's like, you're gonna lose this for us. If you're not right, we're gonna lose. And I think that stems from her own issue with it being like all about her. It's like this individual thing. It's not a team in her mind.
Or maybe to be devil's advocate, maybe Diana has had past experiences where someone has messed up in that way, and she knows what it's like to have that one person who makes the wrong mistake and the wrong move and ruins it all.
I just think that, I don't know, I was on teams all my life, whether it was, competitive dancing or cheerleading or, I was sports teams, and then have coached teams, and never on any team I was on, even if it was somebody's fault, if somebody messed up or somebody did something, you never blame one person for the loss of a team.
Yeah,
Never.
it's interesting. It's definitely more of a theatrical approach to music. Because I think, in fairness, if you're staging a musical, you can argue that the leads of the musical are the leads of the musical, and it's still a team. And people might disagree with that, but I think with a cappella it's different. And I think Deke would say that Diana's approach is a lot more kind of musical theater oriented, lead oriented, and just not the same kind of spirit of a cappella that Deke is pushing.
Right, where sort of each performance has a focal point.
Yeah, where it's like this week it's about her, this week it's about him.
Yeah.
Which I can see that approach. It's not necessarily the approach I could take, but it is bringing results to Team Diana. So
Sure.
I don't know. It's a different way to approach it, and I can see where she's going with it.
And do we think if they go down this path of kind of giving different people soloists and really kind of bringing those performances out, does that then maybe a symptom of that? Does that kind of help their group dynamic?
Or hurt it? I don't know.
Interesting.
It could go either way. It really could.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do we think of Diana making? In the way that they painted it in this episode, that she made them audition, but it was actually Blue and Andrew were exempt, but everyone else had to audition. And did you find it surprising that no one really wanted the solo?
I found it obnoxious.
Obnoxious.
I don't know.
Do you think that's
Obnoxious that
because
she was
of-
making everyone audition?
No,
or obnoxious
that they wouldn't. I thought it was
Really?
rude and self-indulgent, and it showed for the first time for some of these kids the fact that they are kids. Because I just thought it was really unprofessional. I mean, what is it going to hurt to audition for these roles? And I don't know if part of it is because this team has these certain soloists that just carry the performances and they're comfortable being in the back row and they don't want to do it, and they're like, what's the point? This person's just going to get the solo. They're better for it. But that's not your decision to make. And I think she makes a good point where she's like, Blue never would have gotten this solo if I didn't force all of you to audition, and Blue was brilliant and he should have had that solo.
But to be fair, Blue wanted to audition for that. What about...
And everyone else didn't really want.
What about-
Do you think that was a testament to the song choice? Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears.
It's an interesting...
Because when they announced the song that they were going to do, some of them didn't know what that song was.
Right.
Also
I feel
shows
like
our age.
I feel like most of them probably didn't know that song.
I don't know it either. I've never heard it in my life. I'm too young.
So I mean, we're all really fresh, out of high school, guys.
I'm like
We don't know
13 years old,
any of
guys.
Guys,
these
they know we're old.
songs.
It's not a secret, Ty.
What were you going to say there?
But what about if someone genuinely doesn't think that a song is within their comfort zone or their range?
Yeah, I hear you, Ty. It's interesting, though. I would make the argument that, like, whether or not you want the solo, you might have the best voice for it. And, like, you need, especially in an 8-person group, I think you have to be prepared at any point to step up and take the reins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And last week, I get the argument like, oh, it's not in my range, it's not good for my voice. The song last week was out of Blue's range.
Right.
And he went up there and he sang it in a range that was comfortable for his voice, and he killed it and he committed to it, and it made him a better performer.
Yeah.
And I think that if the other members of the team aren't willing to do their best, I mean, to me, that's what it said, is that you're not willing to do your best.
Right.
So why are you here?
I think it was more so it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah.
Even if you think deep down in your heart that it's not for you, just try.
Right.
And make the effort that, like, hey, we're all a team. We all have to at least audition just to see if we are the right person for, the ideal fit. But it doesn't hurt to try. And what was more upsetting, I feel, like no one was really making the effort.
Yeah.
It's like, this is supposed to be a group team.
Right. Naftali didn't know the
building
lyrics.
things.
Philip wasn't really connecting with it.
It's interesting.
And no one made the effort.
Yeah, I think if they were a professional group, there would have been more of an understanding, like, we need to go for it. And I understand in high school, if you might think, like, oh, I don't think the solo is for me, I don't know if I want it. it's easy to be like, I'll just take a step back. And I think that's the difference between what you were saying, being in high school as a performer and then kind of being in a professional group.
Yeah.
It's just a difference of mentality. So I could see where they were coming from, but I was glad, and I thought it was the right call for Diana to push for all of them to audition.
Yeah.
Well, because they don't know what she's trying to teach them
Right.
from that experience.
Sure.
So this,
Yeah.
So the solo goes to Dan. He killed it.
Just absolutely, mind blowing.
average.
And I mean, we saw how good he was last week, but I think this week definitely really. I mean, it was a showcase for Dan, even before the performance, even just in his audition scene was absolutely incredible.
Hell of a voice. For
Great
sure.
voice.
What do we think of the rest of the team who didn't get the solo? They were thinking that because they spent so much time for the auditions, which was wasting time. Do you agree with this?
I mean, not really knowing anything about acapella, I think there certainly can be a case made for that. That if someone isn't, and not even necessarily not comfortable auditioning, but genuinely just doesn't want to, then they might be better served working on other aspects of the performance.
So I was torn on this because I feel like if they had just auditioned, I mean, how long does it take to sing 30 seconds of a song and be done with it if they had spent less time complaining about having
We
to
just got
audition?
Diana in the chat room, by the way.
Hi,
What up,
Diana.
Howdy.
I feel like if they had spend less time complaining, like it would have been one and done, but I also feel like it was a bigger issue. I think when we saw them talking later, it appears from, we didn't get the full story in the edit, but from what I deduced, it sounded like from the past weeks, Diana was really focused on the solo, and the rest of the arrangement and the rest of the singers were feeling very lost and very, not given the appropriate time and coaching to really shine and be able to back up the soloist. And it sounded like they were having more of an issue with that than having to spend time doing the solo.
I mean, I think it would have been great, and we did see the rest of the team make up the good point, like, hey, we need to utilize our time a little bit better instead of having all of us watch the audition process. Maybe for future purposes, they could have had individualize the solo, like isolate them, and have everyone else learn the arrangement at the same time, maybe in the next room, while Diana saw each person individually to do the audition. It would have two birds with one stone at the same time.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Time management.
That makes sense.
There you
Andrew
go.
knows what he's talking
How do they
about.
do it in your ACA groups?
I think normally we would have people who want to audition, but if someone were like, Jeff, I really want you to give it a shot, I'd be like, yeah, you know what I mean? And the thing is it's an objective look. I guess inherently it's subjective, but who do we think might be the best on this? Because at the end of the day, even if I don't want it, there's a chance my voice might sound best on it. So I know some groups where everyone does audition. Our group, typically those who want to audition would, and if there was anyone else that would be like, I'd love to hear them, we'd have them do it. So, yeah.
But do they spend all the time, doing the solos and then do the arrangement separately, or do you work?
Oh no, we usually would learn the arrangement first.
Okay.
And then probably once the song's at 80%, we audition solos.
See that? I feel like that makes sense.
Oh, that's an interesting way to go about it.
Because the thing is,
I
it can
like
be
that.
hard to audition the solo if you don't have the group ready to
Yeah,
back
definitely.
you.
To back you up.
Right.
I like that. All right, so tensions flare up. Vanessa and Andrew walk out.
We knew it was coming.
They are
I've
not
been calling
happy.
Been calling this since episode 1.
And
Yeah,
I think
you
it's very
did.
interesting. It's the couple who walk out.
Do you
I
think
know.
Vanessa would have left if she wasn't dating Andrew? And we know Andrew would have left, but do you think Vanessa would have left if she wasn't
Yeah.
his girlfriend?
Interesting.
She's a
No.
spunky gal.
She is spunky.
Yeah, and we
She
saw a little
is,
bit of
but-
tension in week 1 too.
But I don't think she would have.
No?
No.
Interesting. They do seem like
We saw
quite in love.
Yeah, we saw in episode 1. Andrew already voiced his opinion towards Diana already in the first episode. It would make very clear sense that Andrew would walk out, but Vanessa, I don't think she'd be. I think she'd be the person who's upset, but would take it.
Right.
And just still sit in the room and be with everybody else and just work through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's, obviously they're dating, so he probably has some words.
Influence?
And it's much easier, what is misery enjoys company? Not that they're miserable, but, when
Right.
you have something you're upset about and you, share it with other people, then it tends to
Misery
escalate it.
loves
Sure.
company.
Right.
Do you think? Well, we know they are young, but had that happened to you, if you were the coach, and whatnot, and people walk out, would you allow them back?
Yeah.
They're kids.
Yeah, I think the fact that they're kids and they're impulsive, that comes into play. Also, kind of the size of the group. Can they afford?
Can they afford
to lose two people?
Probably not.
I mean, if it was Stay Tuned, that might be a different story.
Highland's voice.
I think a clear chastising is definitely due.
A clear what? I missed
A
that.
clear chastising is definitely
I hear you.
due. Because, again, that's just not professional.
Right.
Especially if you're on a television show as well.
Dai handled it well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the intervention. It reminded me of the scene in Pitch Perfect when everyone freaks out and then they get in the arc and we find out that Esther Dean's character is a lesbian.
Oh, right.
Am I allowed to say? Yeah.
Lesbian.
Yeah,
Spoilers for Pitch
If
Perfect.
anyone who's watching the Pitch Slapped after show hasn't seen Pitch Perfect,
What are you doing with your life?
you need
a
to
good
get
point.
out.
That's a good
You
point.
need to go.
Pause the show and go watch that and come back to it.
Right. But I don't know. I see where you're coming from in terms of you can't just kind of walk out on the group. But I think he had a point.
She told him he could.
Right.
Fair enough.
Sure.
Well, she said if you're going to walk out, might as well go to Deke.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He'll sit around a piano for
Because Stay Tuned
3
needs more
days.
people.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
They're really
short.
hanging by a thread.
Yeah.
But I see his point. You can only take so much of that for so long before you get kind of fed up. And what else can you do? You know? I definitely didn't expect him to quit altogether.
Yeah, that was a bit.
That escalated
Yeah,
quickly.
we found out there was a text he sent hours later, that he was actually straight up quitting.
Right.
Well, I mean, you also have to realize, like, the insane amount of pressure. Not only do they have, Diana came in guns blazing, and if they weren't used to that kind of coaching style, that's a lot. And then they've also got cameras in their faces 24/7,
Right.
and they're dealing with filming, and they're high schoolers, and it's just a lot, like, hormones and a lot of stuff happening.
happening.
So, like, in his
Straight.
defense, I mean, we don't know the full story of what was happening in these rehearsals, how long they're having to rehearse for, the hours they're having to film, because, I mean, they could be filming, over and over into the night, and
Right.
it's just, we don't know the full story.
Sure.
Yeah. So Diana does come back the next day, talk it out, smooth things over.
We see the return of the bacon shirt.
And the bacon shirt returns.
Yes, Philip's in the chat room.
Philip's
also.
the best.
What's up,
We
Phil?
love that
She's gonna have
Philip's
bacon.
my boy.
Bacon. We all pointed out. We're like, oh, there it is again. It's a character in it.
Got a big reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
love Bay.
So they smooth things out. What do we think of now everyone rehearsing again together? A different type of feel. Now that Diana is kind of now on board,
Well, and it seemed
more
like
acceptable.
It was a nice moment, everyone apologizing, everyone kind of, hugging it out, so to speak.
Working out their
then I
issues.
felt like it was a little bit insincere when it
Did
cuts to her.
you see Vanessa's face when she was like, "Thanks for talking to us"?
Yeah, I definitely heard that.
I was like,
Shame.
"Oh my gosh!" And I love her for that because that's exactly like I would do that. I'd
Well,
be like,
that's
"Thank
a Lindsey
you,
move.
thank
And not
you
only that-
so much
and not
for
only
having
that,
this little
but
sit down."
in Diana's talking head when she says that she has to handle everyone with little kid gloves.
I know.
Yeah.
Like that made the apology seem maybe a little less sincere.
yeah, I think there was.
Like, you still
some-
got to be very sensitive.
Right, like-
it's a sensitive time.
Right, like, all right, I'll say sorry. I won't yell at you for
Yeah.
this week,
She's
just
like,
so
we
we
still
can
gotta
get
win.
through
I know.
this damn song.
Cautionary tale.
Means to an end.
Yeah. But I could see she might not be used to working with high schoolers. I think she's probably used to working with professional
she's
groups
not.
where like if like with the quartet that I used to like sing with on the ship, like if someone called me out like that, it would be like we listen.
Yeah.
It's game time.
Sure.
They might not have just been used to that kind of tough love.
But
Right.
if you're coaching 14-year-olds,
Right.
maybe not so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Telling them that they suck. It's just
And
it's a choice.
I think it's interesting how
option.
we see in so many episodes of the Highland Voices, they actually have the time to voice their opinions. If something's upsetting them, they will tell Diana. This, we don't like this. If something is making them happy, they will say, they wear their heart on their sleeves pretty much.
Right.
And I feel with families, every time you're upset, you can always talk to the next person and say, like, I'm upset about this.
Right.
And I feel like we get that with Highland Voices.
Oh yeah, it's definitely like a super
Such a
normal
tight-knit
dysfunctional
group.
family.
And I think it's also part and parcel to the size of the group because you got to think with Stay Tuned, if someone's mad, they don't have time to go through 21 sets of grievances.
I do
Yeah.
have to laugh though, because like high school Jeff would not have done that. High school Jeff would have just like smiled and nodded and just did what he was told.
Right. No, I 100% feel
I still feel like full-grown
Absolutely.
adult Jeff would smile
know.
and not do it.
Also fair.
I
Also
just
fair.
really respond to authority. It's just always I've been.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm the exact same way.
Okay, all right, okay. Sounds good.
You
Any-
respond to me.
Anytime someone starts yelling and raising their voice, I'm like,
I'd be a rebel rouser.
I know you would.
So we go to Diana's house, which was a little bit more intimate, more closer.
Yeah, bonding.
Nice
feeling
place,
like
Diana.
a family. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice house.
Yeah.
And your daughter is adorable.
Right.
That was
So cute.
super cute.
And we had the wardrobe
Super
with
cute.
the pink skinny ties.
Of course.
Because it's 80s, they're covering Everybody Wants the World of the World.
We've got some 80s fashion choices tonight in case
Yeah.
you guys didn't
Yeah.
know.
Andrew is not on board.
I'm going to pop the collar.
There you go.
And
Pop
I'm
it.
And some
Pop
crimped
it.
hair.
Lindsay's rocking the crimped hair, off the shoulder shirt. I'm wearing bright, obnoxious pink neon.
I got
And
That's as close to 80s
I
as
got
I
nothing. I got my cat monster shirt.
What does
There
that
you
mean? Explain your shirt tie.
Oh, it's just a monster made of other smaller monsters.
Amazing. I
It's
love
just
it.
cute.
Interesting. Interesting.
Adorable.
Okay, let's get back to Stay Tuned. Stay tuned, and their rehearsals. Second day, Deke shows up.
Yes,
Yay!
Deke is back.
Oh, yeah.
Energetic, having literally came from the hospital the day before. What do we think of like him coming back? Just his presence elevating everybody else's performance.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, he said it himself. He missed his family.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And they needed him. They were a hot mess. I'm just saying.
Whereas by the end, were they not a hot mess?
We'll get to
We'll
that.
get there. We'll get there.
I love you, Steve.
Love you, Deke. Love you. Stay tuned. We've got some thoughts.
We do have thoughts.
Oh, dear.
But okay, so he sees their rehearsals at this point because they've been rehearsing without him, and he says it felt young and dishonest.
Yeah.
They needed to pull it together.
It was too High School
It was
Musical.
lame.
Too
Yeah.
High School Musical.
Yeah.
It was super lame.
Right.
Yeah. It's hard to channel anger, like you said. I mean,
It's hard.
that's the toughest. It really takes a lot of like getting past yourself.
Sure.
Because you can like fake happy while you're singing, or you can like fake sad, but like, yeah, you talked
You
about
look
it.
ridiculous if
Right.
you're like trying
Right.
to be angry.
And to be fair, the song, while it is angry on content, it is kind of more tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tap into real, genuine anger.
Right.
In a high school
This
acapella
isn't
group
Rage
singing
Against the
a Pink
Machine.
song.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a really hard song.
I know.
Like it's the vocals. Pink is
She's
incredible
yelling in that
vocalist.
She's a great
and-
vocalist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pink has some serious pipes.
Oh,
too.
sure.
So
Yeah.
I think, like you guys are saying, anger is so hard to tap into because it has to come deep within. And what do we think of Deke like actually going for it? And he's like, "Are you angry that you're losing to the rich kids up north again?" Like he was
God.
getting real.
Really?
I'm like,
Oh,
I mean,
so
oh my
cute.
goodness,
That
I'm
was,
going there.
yeah, that was like a little
That was a
real.
dig.
Like a
Those
Care
days.
Bear trying to
Exactly,
like be
exactly.
mean. It was like so.
That's
It was
as,
adorable.
as bad as it could have gotten.
He
Yeah.
was like are you tired of losing them? Like he was really trying, and it shows like what a good guy he is. And
right.
all I could think was like how ironic, like if Diana's team were given this song right
Oh,
now, they
man.
would kill it because
Yeah.
they want to kill her.
Right.
Like, they've got some anger channel.
If Diana had to push them
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
tap into their anger,
Done.
oh, it'd be done. It would be done.
It's so
Tears would
hard
be shed.
to imagine Deke angry though.
I know.
Right,
He's
right,
such
right.
guy.
a energetic, enthusiastic person.
Right.
Yeah. I thought it was
Guess
adorable.
we haven't seen that side of him yet.
Like trying to.
We haven't seen Deke perform, and I feel like performance Deke is when we see his emotions. I feel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like performance Deke.
I
is
want to see Deke perform.
Right?
No, we should have asked him today, Marissa.
gotta see
They would have been super jealous.
And
Yeah.
that Deke and Diana one-on-one battle.
Maybe they'll
That
do
would
a
be-
duo.
That was actually a question of mine. I was like, are we actually going to see them sing on the show?
A
I would
Deke
love
and Diana duo,
To
a
see
love
that.
song, a tender song of unrequited love. Please,
What duet are you thinking?
I don't know. I'm gonna have
Endless
to
Love.
think on that.
And I was just gonna say Endless Love.
My endless love.
Please, please.
I wonder if the kids have heard of that song.
Oh, for sure not.
So Deke
Let's
kept
keep
talking
getting older,
about
guys.
cutting members.
Right.
Yes.
I
It's
know.
the second time we've heard that. Do
He
we
was-
think
he
he'll
was
cut
starting
anybody?
to-
No.
I don't think he will. I
don't?
just think he's seeing the potential good that could have come of it, but I think at this point it's too late.
I think
Just keeps coming up though.
Yeah, I think he keeps saying it because he has to keep realizing this is also can be potentially detrimental to us.
Right.
You know,
Agree.
this is also it's a big disadvantage for us. Granted, we have a lot of great strong voices, but also it hinders us every single week.
And I don't think Deke would have it in him to cut someone unless they did something really, really catastrophic or
talk bad about acapella.
He strikes me as one of those guys that if he's trying to break up with someone, they never get that they're being broken up with because he's so nice about it that they're I don't.
That was in that was in Parks and Rec. That's exactly right.
It's just he's too nice to actually.
Right. For Parks and Rec viewers, when Chris Traeger broke up with Ann Perkins, that's exactly what happened.
Oh, right.
He was too nice, and she didn't even realize he was
literally.
Literally.
Oh my god, I love that show. Okay, so they're still performing and whatnot, and they're trying to evoke anger, not really getting there. So Deke has the amazing idea of doing a mosh pit.
I love when I love when we see the gears turning and Deke's like, all right, it's a little bit crazy, but ... and then something ridiculous.
I know.
Sergio was going all out.
Sergio was wild.
It's like, Sergio, what are you doing? You're not mosh pitting or raging, you were gyrating.
No, Sergio was dope.
Yeah.
So
what you were doing.
Decon knew that was the essence of a mosh pit.
I loved Sergio.
Sergio was wilding out.
Not seen him until now a whole lot, and I'm so glad you saved this gem for us because Serge, love you. I
he was surging out.
I loved it.
That's what I'm gonna call it. It's surging out.
Certifiably insane, but he was.
That's the point.
You cannot look that crazy if you're not 100% committed.
Oh sure.
And he was.
And he was
He was not about to give. He was not about to half-ass that mosh pit.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
But Deke also loved it. He says, incredibly stupid, and I love it.
I kind of love it. Yeah.
I love it.
I thought it was an idea.
It is an idea.
It was that. It was certainly
I think it was necessary. We'll talk about the performance.
Yeah.
But
And then he also had the fun idea of smashing a guitar.
yes, that's fun.
Is that necessary?
I'm so happy to talk about this when we get into that.
Should we talk about it now?
Which are we talking about? The performance or the smashing of the guitar at rehearsal?
Smash in the parking lot.
The smashing of the guitar at the end of the performance.
Okay.
That's what I was talking about.
Why was Highland Voices singing outside of a car?
Oh yeah.
It's cool. It's like Grease Lightning.
Yeah, totally.
I did really like that montage of kind of cutting back and forth from the smashing to them singing.
I was like, I got it. I was like, high school. It's probably someone's new car.
I don't know. I was like, what is happening?
Someone probably just got their license. They're like, hey, we can go sing about the car.
Right.
I like
a lot of bonding moments happens around the car.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's high school because that's the only cool place.
I got it. I thought it was cool.
Of course you did.
All right. So let's get to competition day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stay tuned is against the Leading Tones. And Leading Tones performed Stay by Rihanna. What do we think of their quick performance?
That was amazing. They seemed so young, but the voices were so powerful and mature. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's really wonderful, really earnest. I think they're the kind of group, in 2 years, they're going to be the top dogs.
Oh, sure.
Because you think, if they're 3 months in, it reminded me of the beginning of an inner city school movie where
because they're black, they're inner city.
No, you
went there.
I just saying.
Just because it was they were the underdogs and they were the new group.
Okay.
It was they were new on the block.
Sorry,
and
I didn't mean to call you out.
No, you're fine. I didn't mean it like that though. The way I meant it was
That's not what I heard.
The way I meant it was some mentor is gonna come in, the inspirational teacher, and really push that group to be amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Was the way I meant it.
I do know.
They're great on their own.
That's how I meant it.
I thought their soloists were killer.
Right.
Amazing. And when the beat dropped in, all of our little heads were bobbing around to the music.
Super dope.
It was great.
How do I reach these kids?
I loved the voice of the soloist. It was soft and textured, and I loved the kick drum sound effect. It was
so real.
It was so subtle yet so simple. You heard it every few beats.
It's strong.
This is all I hear, and it's amazing.
It was awesome.
It's amazing, and I actually do really enjoy that song.
And
I don't like Rihanna, but
amazing.
I loved this version. I would so download this on
Definitely.
iTunes.
It was great. Yeah.
I think. All right.
Both of those soloists
We're awesome.
have some futures for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Megan says they're still confident that they'll win.
Yeah, she's confident.
Interesting. Good perspective on that.
Well, and the way that we've been seeing these competitions scored, I mean, I feel like they have reason to be confident.
And they know they're shooting 4 more episodes for the TV show.
Yeah,
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Anything could happen.
I felt like this, out of all these weeks, this was probably one of the first groups that didn't really feel like a competitor. Like, there's someone to be afraid of for them.
Leading tones?
Yeah, leading tones.
Interesting.
I hear you.
Like, they're
don't
not
know.
the big rival to be afraid of.
I feel like they have what Stay Tuned is lacking. In terms of, I feel like Stay Tuned is really... if Stay Tuned had some killer soloists,
I agree.
I feel like they would be untouchable.
I hear you.
And I think that that's what's seriously lacking. So to see them go against a group that has such strong soloists, and we've seen it before, and you can see it just watching, if a group is okay, but they have an amazing lead vocalist, it can very easily sway your interpretation of their performance.
Right.
And that's what oftentimes I think is lacking in Stay Tuned. So I don't know, I don't agree that they were like that they didn't have a chance.
Right, yeah,
'Cause I feel like
you.
they were so strong vocally for their soloists.
I did put wow in my notes.
Yeah, it was really good. Really, really good.
Nice job, Leading Tones. If any of y'all are watching, amazing performance.
All right, let's get to the Stay Tuned's actual performance. So what? What do we think of their performance? Did they evoke the anger that they needed for this song?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if
Yes.
they evoked the
evoked
anger.
something.
Something.
I don't think they evoked the anger that they needed, but I really enjoyed it. I liked the performance.
Yeah, I did too.
You guys,
Oh, I enjoyed it. I think what Deke was trying to do, he accomplished. I think he's like, I
Yes.
really want to push these singers. Liked the arrangement.
what I really, really enjoyed, like, and I think the intensity really showed through, especially on Megan's face and on Phoebe's face. I think that's what really captivated me, is seeing how they played it and how they performed it. I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah. What do you think, Linz?
Yes, Lindsay. I know you have a lot to say.
I really don't have that much to say. So 2 things. One, I agree. I think that they were pushed and they fully committed. And that's what made it work. I was not quite sure what I was watching or experiencing, and not in like a good or bad way.
Yeah.
Like, I literally, my face was like this the whole time. Because I wasn't sure if it was good or if it was bad. I was just a little confused.
There's a lot.
It was a lot to take in.
Yeah.
It was a lot to take in, and I just, what I felt overwhelmingly in this was that the arrangement was so strong. Their sound is so strong compared to what we heard from week 1, and I just wish that we had a really, really strong soloist for them, because I think that it would be phenomenal, and I thought they were great. But I felt like that song in particular, and part of it is because it is a Pink song and she has such strong, killer vocals, and I thought all of their performances were fully committed and so strong, but it is really challenging to match that intensity that Pink sings with. Most people would destroy their vocal cords trying to sing how she sings.
Oh my goodness.
And I felt like, maybe it was song choice for why I felt that way. Like, it really was lacking in the vocals in some way.
I see. For me, I didn't see the lack in vocals. I saw the lack in visual.
Well, the visual was
Because
crazy.
watching the 2 leads, their faces, they were all scrunched. And from the surface, it looks like they're angry about something. But it looked like it was a forced kind of
Did you
like
think so?
feeling, trying
bought
to,
it.
like, you're angry,
yeah.
but I'm not really feeling it. And then also, because it is such a big group, there's 21 of them, it felt like such a small stage.
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
that might have just the environmentally for them was going against them, because
Right.
Well, and
they were trying to move and like go forward by like 4 steps and go
And
backwards.
it did seem, in terms of the choreo, it did seem
seemed
like
too tight on
well,
stage.
it seemed like there was some sort of a division that was supposed to be happening, but
And
I couldn't tell, like, if there was like one side versus the other, or if
Yeah.
it was what they were trying to convey. I think that's where I got lost.
Yeah, and a couple times in past performances on Twitter and on the chat, people have chimed in and said, "Look, this stage was the size of a postage
Right,
stamp.
right,
We
right.
got there, and there was like, we did the best we could, but we
Right.
just couldn't fit. And part of that, I'm like, okay, I understand. But also part of that, as a dancer and a cheerleader, we always found out the dimensions of every stage we performed on, and we taped out exactly that space, and we practiced in that space so that we could know that when we're going up, it's in that space. And I don't know if that information is not privy to them or what, but it should be.
Yeah, I thought visually the stage that they were on looked too small for them, because there was a wide shot really quickly where every single one of them took up the whole stage.
Right, it was chaos.
They were still way like too close to each other, so I think maybe just environmentally they didn't have the space, which worked against them.
One thing that I got a really big kick out of was like all of the pearl clutching that went on over the guitar getting smashed. I felt like
loved it.
People,
And the guitar.
I was into that. I was super into that. I thought like the way people were reacting, like I felt like it was the a cappella equivalent of like they went up and sacrificed a goat or something. Everyone was like, I think like they were like, oh,
like
it was
burning
so
a flag
it
up
was
there.
so shocking. They're the bad boys of a cappella.
Oh my God,
I can't believe they would do such a
Broke a
thing.
guitar.
The way, but I will say when Philip said, I think was it Philip that said it didn't even have a chance to get strummed. Like that, I got a big kick out of that.
And I
Like
love
defending the life of that young poor guitar.
Right, and I loved he says, "Who do you think you are, Aerosmith?"
Aerosmith.
I loved it, and
What a
I think
reference.
she
At least
like
he knew
went
who
for
Aerosmith
it.
was.
What a reference.
Who do you think you are, NSYNC?
Yeah,
But
no, I was into it. I was into it.
Deke actually did mention in the interview for the guitar that got smashed, he purposely wanted an acoustic guitar for the sound effect and the splatter noise that it would convey.
Yeah.
Sound.
Well, I mean, like if you're gonna try to smash
shoot.
an electric guitar, that's gonna take some time.
I'd be really angry at that.
Should we talk scores?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So visual, Stay Tuned got 25, and the leading tones got 17. For difficulty/arrangement, Stay Tuned got 25, and leading tones got 23. And then from vocal performance, Stay Tuned got 23, and then leading tones got 22. Stay Tuned won, score of 73. So another win in the books.
I agree with these scores.
Do you agree?
I do too. This is the first time I actually really agree with them, and I think that it also reflects, that the leading tones were a really strong competitor, and what they were lacking, and I felt the same way. Their choreo, I wrote meh.
Right.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just kind of there.
Right.
And so that's where you see lacking in visual, but their difficulty in arrangement and difficulty in vocal was close.
It was really neck and neck in those
Yeah.
two categories for sure.
I agree. I liked this scoring system because they were actually very close for both.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, on the visual for Stay Tuned, even though I thought it was a hot mess, I think it worked in their favor because of the song choice. And I think that's why they got such a high mark on the visual, because it had an energy, it had a purpose, it created a feel for the vocalists to have something to jump off of. It worked. It added to the piece that it was kind of crazy.
All right, so let's get to Highland Voices and Diana, their team pulling together last minute. First of all, let's get to their competition, Solfege. And Jeff, you actually had a little tidbit of terminology
I think
of solfege.
the group didn't know what solfege meant. I'm sure the listeners do, but if they don't, it's the name of the system by which you assign pitches to like do, re, and mi, up through do again. Like
We are
knowledge.
getting elaborate with these puns, guys.
The money and
Like
solfege.
week by week, the wordplay is getting
impressive.
more and more lofty.
But that's interesting. I was like, that's really cool.
Oh no,
to
yeah.
learn.
Once you explained it, I was like, that's genius.
Yeah.
All I thought was Sound of Music. So.
Right.
But that's still good
Sure.
too. So Solfege is singing Hall of Fame by the Script.
It's great.
What do we think of their performance?
There was a lot of energy. There was a lot of kind of kinetic, like, and that song choice was so interesting because I feel like we haven't really seen that sort of a song before.
Marisa's got some
I have a
words.
lot of
Oh, what do you think?
Let's hear what you got, Sarah.
Okay.
What do you
This is the
think?
first time I've heard you grumble when somebody talks.
I didn't like the black. They were in black and orange, I believe. Wasn't really too keen with the wardrobe. And for the soloist, I didn't like his voice.
Really?
No?
Yeah. I personally, and this is my opinion, I felt he sounded low and flat
Okay.
throughout the whole song. He didn't really go. It was one-dimensional type of emotion.
I see.
He had what I like to call like musical theater syndrome. There's some singers who their voices are suited for certain mediums, and you hear it a lot when it's exposed in a song that's not right for them.
Yeah.
And a lot of musical theater singers, if they try to sing pop or rock, it is like the bane of their existence. It just sounds off. And that's how I felt. I felt he had a really great, strong voice. My favorite part of the routine was Solfege 2015.
That was dope.
Amazing.
That was dope.
And I thought he that was perfect. But I felt like his voice fell flat.
I see what you mean.
For that reason, because it was, it just wasn't in his wheelhouse.
Right.
The
I could see
style
that.
of song.
Yeah.
And the
I'll
thing
give you
is,
that, yeah.
Hall of Fame, throughout the original song, I mean, granted, they are trying to, reamp it and have their own arrangement, but that song goes high at some points, and it goes low at some points, and I felt the soloist in this performance was one note across the board.
Fair. Yeah, I would
Jeff?
say, to me, his voice was different than the lead singer of the script, but I actually still thought he sounded great in the song.
I thought he sounded great.
Yeah.
I just, that I think is
Just a
maybe
matter of what
you
it's
were hearing.
suited for.
Yeah, but the other thing I think that it's important to note, and they touched upon it during the episode, is Solfege is a completely student run.
Yeah, good for you.
They
Yeah.
don't
That was
have a
nuts,
coach.
yeah.
Props
So
to
to
you
not
guys.
have a coach and to have, I think especially, and we see it in this episode in particular, what can happen if your coach is not there, to be that motivated and that dedicated and that disciplined to be able to have a group that is that polished and that consistent and that strong without a coach telling you what to do, where to be, when to do it, is really incredible, I think.
Sure.
But Diana liked it. She says that Highland Voices need to take a page out of their notes. What was the line?
Yeah.
Page out of their voices.
And I think for that reason,
Learning from them, pretty much.
I think for that reason, I think it annoyed Diana, and rightfully so, to have them this whole episode be like, well, you're not working with us when you're working with a soloist. Well, take some initiative.
Right.
You know how to sing. You know harmonies. Go work. Go practice.
I hear you.
Okay. All right, let's get to Highland Voices performance. Everybody wants to rule the world. What did you think of this
This was
performance?
friggin' bonkers, guys.
Yeah, they
After
slayed.
everything we saw, all the drama that went down, them coming back together and being a unit, I thought they got their ish together.
They did, yeah. I watched that entire performance
Very
with my mouth just
surprisingly
hanging
so.
open.
Yeah.
This was probably my favorite performance of the show up to this point.
Top 3 for me,
Yeah.
for sure. Great arrangement.
Yeah.
The arrangement was so
The
unique.
choreography
and
was...
Dan is so off the charts. Yeah.
It was really good. There's not much negative to say about his performance.
No.
Highland Voices is really good.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was
The
yeah.
choreography was clean. It was an updated version of an 80s classic. It
Right.
had feeling. Dan was amazing. And I actually just thought about this. Marisa, you mentioned earlier if you thought that focusing on the individual solos could actually benefit them. And I think that it does. I think when you strengthen all of the individual parts, then the whole becomes greater, and it's kind of a different approach that Deke has than Diana
Exactly,
has, and hers
yeah.
is obviously let me strengthen each one of these individual players so that we get a stronger sound. And I think that stems from where she comes from. I think the group that she performs with primarily is all soloists that sing as a group.
Yeah.
And they're all equally talented, and I think that's what she's striving for in this group.
Right. It would have been interesting to see this performance go up against Vocal Forte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one-
this
yeah.
particular performance.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The one thing I did write down was that I wish I could have heard this live, and we haven't really touched upon this, and I think that some of the scoring where we feel like it's a little off, we're getting a mixed version
That's true,
of
that's very
what
true.
it is, and the balance in the mix is going to be different. And this was the first time I really felt like the mix was a little bit off, especially with the backup vocals.
It was top heavy.
I felt like there was just something off with the mix, and it was such a strong performance that I wish I could have heard it live, because I feel like it would have been that much better.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
also, there might be, sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
Sometimes high schoolers don't have real basses, which is interesting. Like, a lot of these guys in 2 years will have this really deep bass voice, but they're not quite there.
Right.
I'll never have it. I'm a tenor too, you guys, but it's sometimes it might.
Someday.
I know, maybe one day. But what we're hearing might just be the fact that these kids are 17, you know?
Right.
Could be that,
But
too.
man, they were
Puberty's
tuning.
hard.
Yeah.
Trust
for
me,
sure.
we've all been there.
But they.
Get real.
Hashtag ABTV pitch slap.
Puberty.
Hashtag puberty's hard. Tune in next week.
It's true. Hashtag puberty. Yes.
Nothing like middle-aged people talking about the perils of puberty.
Oh, what was that? Okay. Deke, okay, in all seriousness.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we're just
I'm
laughing.
sorry,
We're
guys.
laughing
I'm
with
sorry.
We love you. Marisa.
Okay.
you. We love you.
Deke did say in our interview today that for the performances during the competition that they actually perform it like 3 times.
Yeah.
And the judges score off of seeing it the first time. And then they have to, perform it more times for the cameras. Like the steady cams are on like the third shot.
Sure.
That
They have to
explains
get
a lot.
They have to
That
get
does
different camera
absolutely.
angles too. A lot of reality competition shows actually do that.
Interesting.
That explains a lot in terms
Right.
of the discrepancy between what we see sometimes and what we see in the scores.
Right.
Yeah,
That
and-
could have accounted for a lot of once again vocal forte scoring last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the editing too, so they get pickups from the second and third performance that they didn't get in the first.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that also-
and I think that might be a testament to also the mixing if they're
Yeah.
going to be
Right.
mixing different.
And yeah, things like the editing and the mixing also definitely color the emotional response that we have watching it, which
Right.
obviously the judges aren't getting. So
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so scoring. Yeah, I didn't really write a lot of notes because I was so awed. I
Mine-
was
was
watching
great.
the whole thing.
yeah, the
like-
note that I wrote for this performance I can't say on air.
Yeah. That,
Okay, use our imagination.
No, you can't say that.
No.
it's positive though, HB.
It's great. It's really
It's
good.
something like
We'll
this.
just say
Sugar. Sugar.
Scores were good this week,
Scores.
I
Yeah.
think.
Highland Voices for visual, they got 28, and for solfege, 23. Difficulty and arrangement, the Highland Voices 27, solfege 22, and then for vocal performance, Highland Voices 29, solfege 24. Therefore, Highland Voices win once again 84.
And they knocked it out of the park with this scoring, absolutely.
I think the scoring was on point.
Good job, judges. It's about time.
Yeah, compared to
Thank you,
last week's
judges.
travesty.
Was this is this the highest score that anyone's gotten at this up to this point in the show?
Good question.
It's just what 6 short of.
Didn't they
to say,
get? Didn't Highland Voices once score 93 at one point? Am I imagining that? I feel like they've been
it's
in the
out of
90s.
90.
I was gonna say, isn't that
Or
out of
90?
90?
That would be impossible.
Hashtag puberty's hard.
Again, I can't do
Still
numbers, peoples.
All right.
Can't do
We're
numbers.
words people, guys.
Looking at the
Yeah,
time,
words,
if we're
people.
doing predictions, and looking at the time, we should probably,
Predictions.
Yes.
Get some predictions.
yes.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
So
Love it.
eliminations starts next week, week 5. Ooh, what do you think that'll do to just their mentality and how they go about performing and rehearsing and all that?
Pressure creates diamonds.
True. True.
They're gonna eat. They're
Steaks
gonna
are
eat lots of
there.
steaks.
Yeah, lots of steaks, lots of chicken.
You gotta keep that iron up.
Yes.
Or quinoa and beans if you're vegetarian.
So
Or
Los
vegan.
Angeles.
There you go.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, obviously the pressure's on. It's I mean, do we think that they're gonna throw us a curveball and eliminate one of either Stay Tuned or Highlands Voice?
I would love that, but let's be honest. It's a very, 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 very
Slim.
boring format.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not going to eliminate anybody until the final. I mean, we know. I mean, it's like one of those like bad romantic comedies where you know exactly how it's going to end, but you still watch it because
Right.
you love it. Like,
Sure.
we know that the final countdown is going to be Highlands Voices versus Stay
Stay Tuned.
Tuned.
'Cause they-
Now, will
In
it
the
be
first
the final
episode, they
countdown by
pegged
Europe?
those two.
Oh, if only.
Oh,
Get Joe
that
Booth
would
on
be
stage.
great.
Yes.
The final
Joe.
countdown.
Jump on a segue.
That, yeah.
Maybe Diana and Deke will be doing a duo to the final countdown with a big group number.
I would
Like at
love
the
that.
beginning of Miss America. And all the contestants are on the stage together.
Just
Season 2, guys. Season 2.
At least hopefully they'll announce the correct winner at the end.
Oh, I know. Just don't get Steve
Oh,
Harvey.
Steve Harvey.
Exactly.
Hashtag puberty's hard.
I would, actually,
Hashtag
I would love if you guys could tell us if Deke and Diana actually perform on the show.
Philip, I know you know.
Or just like give us, if it's not during competition, just give us like a tidbit, a 2-minute singing of each during the rehearsals. I kind of
Right.
want that.
You know?
I'm kind of demanding that because
on.
Diana, I will say, I was listening to a lot of your YouTube videos, you singing with your vocal group Blue Jupiter, and you're amazing. And you were there was one song, Time After Time, Cyndi Lauper, 80s. Yes, got it, girl.
That
You
song.
can sing.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was like, you're cool.
Right.
You're officially cool. I mean, you were already cool, but now you're officially cool.
Yeah,
in my book.
great group. Excellent
So
group.
what are we predicting,
It's an
guys?
excellent
Same format? Same.
We predict the
I bet they'll rehearse, and then they'll probably compete.
Do you think?
They'll
That is
score
true.
around
That is
30,
true.
30, 30, and one will go home.
Right.
Wait, but so here's my question: is it going to be them against the same teams that we've seen up until this point? Are we going to see the
I
leading
see.
tones
Yeah.
again? Are we going to see solfege? Are
think
we going
so.
to see, vocal
Are we gonna see
forte?
like the actual elimination brackets, the like who's up against you?
Right.
That'd be fun to see.
We should start like a Super Bowl pool.
There you go.
That'd be fun.
Fantasy
We'll see.
acapella.
We'll see what
Fantasy-
happens next week.
Okay.
We'll see.
Fantasy acapella.
Fantasy acapella. There's got to be a cooler pun for that.
Okay, so now that
We're out. We're going over.
yeah, one more question. Now
That's our prediction.
yeah. Now that we saw like Highland Voices voice their opinions and we got tension out of the way, do we still see them being more upset in future episodes and like?
Hopefully.
getting that
I think
out
so.
there?
I think it's
Or
gonna
do you think
get-
it's all clear?
I think it's going to reach a
Oh,
boiling
no.
point.
water
Yeah.
under the.
They
okay.
can't water under the bridge. The look on their
Okay.
faces was like,
Telling you.
We still gotta
Andrew
deal
and
with
Diana
this.
cage match. It's happening. All
Keep
right.
going. All right, everyone. Where can we follow you, Jeff?
Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham and Instagram at Jeffrey Crane Graham. So many grams.
oh jeez. Lindsey Miller, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, if I ever figure out Periscope, at Rockin' Mama Life.
You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Ty Matthews PMA. Various other after shows, Monday Night Raw, Second Chance, Lucha Underground starting this week, all that good stuff. Get
Shameless plugging.
Get it.
Yep. You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. You can follow all of us here on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun places at AfterBuzz TV. Definitely check out Jeff and my interview with Deke Sharon. He came into the studio on our concert experience interview. We will tweet out the link. Y'all go watch it, go like it, rate, comment, subscribe. We love talking to you every single week. You guys are amazing. The fact that you're interacting with us every week and showing your love for this show. Keep showing us love, and we'll keep showing you guys love. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Puberty's hard.
See what he said.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.